President Jacob Zuma's failure to address residents in Vuwani causes major upset. Coligny teenager Matlhomola Mosweu has been laid to rest in the northwest. This is eNews Direct Weekend Edition. I'm Kathy Mutlahlana. Good evening.
Hi, I'm Kate Nokwe.
Of course, you can track our main stories tonight using the following hashtags: Vuwani and Coligny funeral.
You can comment on any of our stories by following us on Facebook and Twitter. Our handles at eNews Direct, or check our content on our website. We're at enca.com/direct.
Well, we begin here tonight. President Jacob Zuma was a no-show at a highly anticipated community meeting in Vuwani. Residents who'd been waiting hours for Zuma to arrive lost patience when other leaders tried to address them. They chanted Zuma's name and heckled the other speakers. Residents are demanding the area be reincorporated into the Makhado municipality. In a statement, the presidency explained his reason for not attending was that most of those present were opposed to the new municipality.
Ala la Vembe District Municipality, ala la.
Our reporter Tulasizwe Simelane was there.
We then saw the officials, including Premier Stan Matabata, Minister Fikile Mbalula, and Minister Des van Rooyen, and the officials here in Limpopo sort of have a little caucus at the top table. After that little caucus, we saw them leaving. And I must tell you, the haste with which they left Bongiwe was incredible. I mean, it was almost, planned in terms of the exit, because the police, riot police, were in an integral part of it, with the Anyalas sort of escorting them out at a very high pace, driving out of the area of Vuwani. So what you're seeing now is a situation where there's a crowd that's still milling around at this sports ground where this meeting was supposed to be taking place. It's being watched closely by police officials, public order, policing officials.
Well, one resident has described the impact the demarcation crisis has had on the community.
Everybody is suffering because all the schools is closed, all the clinic is closed, all the shop is closed. No supply, everything in my village. But now, Jacob Zuma come back to bring back, can bring answer from before your first shut down Jacob Zuma. She say everybody from Vuwani go to Maspala from Collins Chaban. I can't go from Collins Chaban, but even go can Malamla never can supply the village, because that's not fair.
Coligny teenager Matlhomola Mosweu has been laid to rest in the northwest. His death triggered violent protests almost 2 weeks ago. 2 farm employees are accused of killing the 16-year-old.
Family members heartbroken at the loss of their loved one. As Matlhomola Mosweu started his final journey, residents of the Scotsland informal settlement were there to support them. 2 farmer employees are accused of killing the 16-year-old.
The court must only deal with the whole part of how it happened, not on whether it is them or it is not them. Because there's no confusion that he was in their hands at the time when he lost his life.
Mosweu's death saw the town gripped by racial tension. Calls have been made for the authorities to intervene. The Premier says Northwest is currently developing a reconciliation and healing charter to get rid of racism.
I am going to call farmers gradually throughout the province and talk to them and say, sign the charter, the reconciliation and renewal, reconciliation, healing and renewal charter. They must sign the charter And every year we want to check every farmer if they are adhering to the charter.
Mosweu's friends came in their numbers to say goodbye. Meanwhile, community members are planning to take to the streets to demand that the two accused don't get bail. The court will announce this decision on Monday. Kylie Khumalo, Coligny, Northwest.
Police in the Western Cape have been called on to take a more aggressive approach against gangs. A Western Cape Community Safety MEC, Dan Plato, says it's time to send a message that communities will no longer be held hostage by their tyranny. He addressed the memorial of victims of last week's mass shooting in Elsie's River in Cape Town.
An emotional Judania Strauss mourning her son, 17-year-old rising soccer star Fernando Williams. He was one of 13 people targeted. It's believed a local gang opened fire on them. 4 have since died. Residents of Leonsdale in Elsie's River are now looking for answers. Community MEC Dan Plato is talking tough.
Where did you hear about gangsters saying this is the beginning? Can we as government allow a saying like that to continue to happen? We know exactly who made the calls, who said what with regard to we want to continue to see blood, we want to continue to see death.
National Police Minister Fikile Mbalula visited the area last week, assuring residents that police will stabilize Leonsdale. So have there been any arrests?
I believe police did make some arrests, don't know how many, but the investigation is still ongoing.
Community leaders are skeptical, saying the trust between this community and police is broken.
We need police to weed out the bad apples that's within the police, and we know that there's collusion between some police, individual police members and of these gangs. So that's where the mistrust comes from, and we need to really work on that.
The funerals of those who lost their lives will take place on Saturday. Bonga Dlulane, Cape Town.
Gauteng Health MEC Gwen Ramakgopa says that more psychiatric patients have died following the Life Esidimeni tragedy. Over 100 died after being transferred from Esidimeni to unlicensed NGOs. The health ombudsman found the deaths were due to inadequate care. More than 90% of the remaining patients have now been sent to approved facilities, but due to legal disputes, 65 remain in controversial NGOs.
Since the release of the Ombudsman report, 5 patients have unfortunately died, and in spite of the fact that the causes of death were cited as natural causes, we have instructed that post-mortems be conducted, and we are awaiting the outcome thereof. We believe that one death is one death too many.
The African National Congress is in the process of shaping policy that it hopes will help realize the vision of a non-racial and non-sexist democratic society. The party's subcommittee head on social transformation, Lindiwe Sisulu, has led the media through discussion documents at Luthuli House ahead of the party's policy conference next month.
The ANC wants South Africa to undergo not only radical economic transformation, but a radical mind shift.
Racism is something that we want to find in the past, and we're dealing decisively with it now. This is the mind shift that we're wanting to create. We've got to move away from any exclusionary practices that discriminates one group from another in any form whatsoever.
23 years after democracy, the ANC believes there should no longer be blacks and whites, but rather South Africans who understand their individual roles in transforming society. Short on details, it's hoped these ideas will be fleshed out when the party meets at its June policy conference. And as the calls for women leaders grow louder, the Social Transformation Committee believes patriarchy in South Africa must be dealt with once and for all.
Judge me on what is it that I can do in society. My contributions in society must not be judged on the basis of that you're wearing a trouser or we are a man. And if we are able to bridge that gap, then we'll be able to create an equal society.
There was also an appeal from Sisulu to address slate politics and vote buying within ANC structures.
How the ANC deals with its own internal problems, such as infighting and factionalism, will demonstrate if it's still capable of setting an example for society. To lead in the forming of a unified South Africa, one with a shared identity. Nicolaas Bauer, Johannesburg.
Further afield now, early indications are that voter turnout was low in the second round of voting in France's presidential poll today. Opinion polls are predicting that independent candidate Emmanuel Macron will win the 5-year presidency. Presidential candidates Macron and the National Front leader Marine Le Pen cast their votes by midday. The first round has redrawn France's political landscape, toppling the country's two most established parties, the Conservative and the Socialist, leading to the rise of parties on the far right and the far left. After the break, a young girl from Cape Town is getting a helping hand. This is to make her dreams of soccer stardom come true. Stay with us for that. Thanks for staying with us. South African Chris Burtish received a warm welcome home. This is after his expedition across the Atlantic Ocean recently. He spent almost 3 months paddling in an effort to raise funds for environmental conservation and other charitable causes. Now he reflected on his journey and the impact it's had on his life.
It's been just over a month since world-renowned big wave surfer and stand-up paddler Chris Burtish returned from the first ever solo sup across the Atlantic Ocean. Although he had been planning this journey for over a year, Burtish admits nothing could have prepared him for the challenges of the ocean.
Even though I prepared and I planned as much as I could, you know, I've been in the ocean all my life, and I know that you can plan all you want, but it's the ocean, and it's you know, it can be deadly and volatile.
Burtish did the daily equivalent of an Ironman by just paddling.
Getting to the start line and actually starting was really, really difficult. But once I literally paddled off the dock and took that first stroke, I never realized at that point that I was going to be doing 2.5 million strokes to get to the other side.
As an ambassador for the Two Oceans Aquarium and with a passion for various charity organizations, Burtish had bigger goals in mind with this project.
And here's this human, the superhuman, who's going to follow the same route as the loggerheads do. And then he's quite competitive. So I said, Chris, the race is on. Okay, we're going to see you against the turtle and see who gets to the other side the quickest, but of course not a virtual race. And all of that revolved around how can we create awareness around ocean conservation using specifically turtles, because at the time already he's joined us on turtle journeys.
Shortly after returning, he jumped straight into his next project. Breaking world records will have to take a backseat for now, as Chris focuses on filming a new movie and completing his second book. Amy Samuels, Cape Town.
A Cape Town youth is not letting anything get in the way of her dream of becoming a soccer star, and she's getting a helping hand from a local NGO run by a former international soccer player who hopes to make her dream come true.
10-year-old Lalita Meje walks this route from school in Delft every day. But instead of spending her time with typical tween things, she's more interested in getting on her football gear. Lalita is just one of many kids who ordinarily have to play on makeshift pitches in the townships. But thanks to We Love Football Academy, she and many others are moving on to greener pastures. And she's not at all bothered by the stereotyping of her peers.
They say it's wrong to play a ball because you are a girl, you should play a netball. I say to myself, no, they are just fooling themselves. I must just play soccer because I do like soccer. Then my family, the whole family likes soccer.
Run by former German pro footballer Christian Alder and his coach Tulani Meje, the academy wants to create long-term football opportunities for the kids.
We do twice a week training, then we're getting the kids from the townships to the field, and every 6 weeks we're organizing tournaments for the kids.
While they're preparing for a tournament this weekend, some players already have their game plans set up.
I love football because it's the best sport
for me. My future dreams is to be a soccer striker.
While this training ground may only be the start for these youngsters, our hope is that they one day get the chance to play some footy in big arenas locally and internationally. Tanya Neft, Cape Town.
Well, we'll certainly be looking out for those future stars. After the break, Louis has your weather.
Hello everyone. Now that the weekend has come to an end, let's take a look at your forecast for Monday. And after a cloudy start to the day over the far eastern parts with a few drops of light rain in the area, it'll become partly cloudy in the afternoon for most areas, and there could even be a few showers developing on the Highveld later on. Similar conditions expected for parts of the Cape provinces, where afternoon and early evening thunder showers will be possible for some areas in the northern and eastern Cape. Here's your detailed forecast, and for KZN, mostly cloudy at first, becoming partly cloudy. It's still going to be fairly warm over the province, although there is a small chance for a few showers in the area. Temperatures rising by a couple of degrees for the Eastern Cape, well into the mid-20s for this province, and there is a 40% chance for showers and thunderstorms later on. Similar conditions for Beaufort West, but over the rest of the Western Cape, it's going to be a dry day, remaining quite cool along the Atlantic coastline, Cape Town and Langebaan only reaching a high of 20 degrees. A few thunder showers for some areas in the Northern Cape, but for Sutherland it's going to be dry once again. That minimum temperature dips below freezing once again early in the morning. And over the Free State, a very small chance for a few showers over the eastern and southern parts of the province, while Bloemfontein will remain dry with a maximum temperature of 24. Almost no change for the northwest, another warm day with partly cloudy weather in the forecast. And over Limpopo, it's going to be a somewhat cooler day with increased cloud cover, and along with that, there is a small chance for a few showers over this province. Similar conditions in the forecast for Mpumalanga, where the increased cloud cover keeps temperatures below 20 degrees for eMakhazeni and Ermelo, while in Gauteng it will be a partly cloudy and mostly dry day, but there is a very small chance for a few showers from Johannesburg through to Pretoria. Let's look ahead to Tuesday, when there will still be a narrow band of isolated thunder showers extending from the Northern Cape into the Eastern Cape. Temperatures still getting above 20 degrees for almost all of South Africa. And on Wednesday, a temperature recovery continues over Gauteng. Pretoria gets to 26, while there could still be a few thunder showers over the Eastern Cape.
President Jacob Zuma's failure to address residents in Vuwani causes major upset this afternoon. This is a recap of your top stories tonight. Coligny teenager Matlhomola Mosweu has been laid to rest in the northwest. Well, that's a wrap from the eNews Direct team for this weekend.
Up next is Modern Family.
Well, to share your views, you can send an email to enewsdirect@etv.co.za.
As always, you can chat to us on Twitter and Facebook. We're at eNews Direct.
Well, enjoy Modern Family. Until next time. Good night.